Before we crack open tonight's cursed can of content, I just want to say a big thank you to all our subscribers, and an extra sinister shout out to the loyal members of the Sinister Elite. You legends help keep the darkness alive. If you're enjoying the stories and want to take it a step further, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and consider joining the Sinister Elite by clicking that join button below. Members get access to creepy custom emojis and exclusive Sinister Elite badges that level up the longer you survive with us. It's like loyalty, but spookier. All right, lights off, headphones in, and let's summon something we'll all regret. I run a small horror channel on YouTube. I interview strange people, urban explorers, night shift workers, folks who swear they've seen things they can't explain. But I've never interviewed a missing person before. The email came in at 12:03 a.m. No subject line, no intro, just a single sentence. I want to tell my story before it takes me back. The sender's name made me freeze. Elias Mercer, a 26-year-old man who went missing 10 years ago. Last seen walking home from a night shift at a diner. Cameras caught him turning onto Meadow Lane. Then nothing. Gone. Like he stepped off the edge of the earth. His family never got answers. Police had no leads. His case is one of those creepy mysteries people still talk about online. I thought the email was a prank, a sick one. But then the second line came through as a follow-up. Meet me where I disappeared, midnight. Don't bring lights. I stared at the screen. My chest felt tight. Elias had vanished on Meadow Lane, an old dead-end road outside town, the kind of place teenagers dare each other to visit. The woods out there are wrong, silent, cold, even in the summer. I typed back. Why no lights? He replied instantly. Because it sees light, and it listens for electricity. I shut my laptop. My room suddenly felt smaller. This should have been a hard no. A normal person would have blocked him, reported it, forgot about it, but I don't make normal choices. Not with the life I live, not with the channel I run, not with the kind of stories I chase. So I grabbed my audio recorder, a notebook, and a lantern that runs off a silent chemical reaction instead of a battery. Old camping gear my grandpa left me. It glows warm and steady. No hum, no wires, no risk of attracting anything that sees electricity. I drove out at 11:40 p.m. The moon was thin and pale. The wind barely moved. When I reached Meadow Lane, the air felt colder than the rest of town, like something was leaking through the cracks of reality itself. The trees leaned inward, branches twisted together like fingers. The asphalt crumbled under my tires. The entire road felt abandoned by time. I parked at the dead end and stepped out. The lantern cast a soft circle of amber glow, enough to see the ground, but not much more. Then I saw him. A man sitting on the old concrete barrier at the edge of the woods. Head down, hands clasped, clothes old and dirty, hair longer than the missing posters ever showed. Elias? I whispered. He lifted his head slow. Too slow. As if his neck had forgotten how to move like a human's. His eyes reflected the lantern's glow like an animal's. But they weren't bright. They were hollow, faded, like looking into old ice. You came, he said. His voice was soft and airy, like he hadn't used it in years. I did, I said. My own voice felt too loud, too alive. Are you really Elias? He nodded once. Most of me is. The way he said it chilled me. He motioned toward a stump next to him. Sit. We don't have long. I can only stay until 3. After that, it starts searching again. What does? He didn't answer. Not at first. He stared into the trees, eyes wide, body locked. Then he leaned close enough for me to smell the cold soil on him. The rot, the dampness of earth that has never seen sunlight. There are rules for us, he whispered. The missing... We follow rules if we want to stay borrowed. Borrowed? I repeated. He nodded. I wasn't taken. Not fully. I'm borrowed from it. It lets a few of us walk when the veil is thin, but only under conditions. Only under its rules. I swallowed hard. What rules? He held up 3 fingers. His hand trembled like he was fighting something inside himself. Rule 1. Never look into the dark between the trees. That space isn't empty. He dropped 1 finger. Rule 2. Never speak your full name after midnight. It uses names to pull you back. Another finger lowered. Rule 3. Never turn on a light. Any kind of light. It hunts anything that shines. My heartbeat thudded in my throat. Elias, where have you been for 10 years? His breathing hitched. He stared past me, over my shoulder, into the black woods behind us. I can tell you, he whispered. But only if you promise one thing. What? His voice turned hollow, empty, like it was coming from a tunnel. Don't run when you hear it. If you run, it knows you don't belong here. A branch snapped deep in the forest, loud, wet, heavy. Elias's eyes widened. It's close, he whispered. We have to start the interview now, before it steps through. He leaned toward the recorder. Ask your first question. Hurry. The woods behind me groaned, something big shifting in the dark, and I pressed the record button. The recorder clicked on. The little red light blinked once. My hand shook as I held it between us. Elias stared at it like he hadn't seen technology in a decade. Maybe he hadn't. Okay, I whispered. First question. Where were you the night you disappeared? Elias inhaled slow, like it hurt, like air wasn't something he was used to anymore. I was walking home, he said. After a double shift. My feet hurt, my eyes burned. I cut through Meadow Lane because it was quiet. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just wanted to sleep. But the woods felt different that night. Quiet in the wrong way, like everything was holding its breath. The woods behind us creaked, something shifting weight, something waiting. Elias lowered his voice. You hear it too, don't you? I nodded once. I didn't want to move more than that. Yeah, something's out there. He smiled without joy, a thin, cracked smile. It's always out there. It watches the borrowed. It listens for movement, for voices, for light. What are the borrowed? He looked down at his hands. His fingers were stiff, skin pale and stretched too thin. I'm borrowed, he whispered. We're people who slipped too far from the path. People the woods didn't return, but didn't keep either, not fully. It lets us walk when the veil thins, midnight to 3. No more, no less. Why those hours? Because that's when it sleeps, or pretends to sleep. Another crack echoed from deep in the trees. Closer this time. Heavy. Wet. Dragging. I swallowed hard. What is it? Elias shook his head, his hair falling across his hollow eyes. You don't ask its name. Names have power in the dark, but people who've seen it call it the lingerer. Because it doesn't chase. It just waits. Watches. Learns what you fear, what you love, what you'll run from. And when you break the rules, it steps forward and takes you fully. My chest tightened. Every breath felt like ice. Is that what happened to you? He stared right into my eyes. No blinking, no warmth, no humanity behind them. I broke a rule. Which one? The third, he whispered. Light. I turned on my phone flashlight when I heard something behind me. I thought it was a coyote. Something harmless. But the second I lit the path, something in the dark stood up. Something tall. Something long. Something wrong. He paused. His jaw trembled. I never saw its face, but I saw its hand. Fingers too many. Joints too few. Skin like cold stone. It reached for the light first, then for me. A cold wind brushed the back of my neck, light as a sigh, slow as a hand dragging across skin. I froze. Elias saw my reaction and leaned in. Don't look behind you. Not yet. That's how it tests you. It wants to see if you'll break Rule 1. Never look into the dark between the trees. That space belongs to it. I stared straight ahead. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. The woods behind us groaned again. Closer. Elias, how did you survive? I didn't, not completely. He lifted his shirt slightly, just enough for me to see gray patches of skin, cold and cracked like stone that had been left at the bottom of a lake. It pulled me halfway through, he whispered, into its place, into the hollow. That world isn't like ours. There's no sky, no reflections, no warmth, only dark shapes moving along the edges, and voices that speak without mouths. I wandered for hours, or days. Time doesn't work the same there. It's like walking through someone else's nightmare. My stomach twisted. What brought you back? The lantern. He nodded toward mine. Not yours specifically, but the kind with no electricity, the old flame of the living world. It hates that kind of light. It's too honest, too warm. The borrowed can use it to slip out for a few hours if the veil thins, if we're not fully taken yet. Another crack in the woods. Louder. Heavy steps now. Slow. As if whatever was out there was circling us. I whispered. Is it coming closer because of me? Elias shook his head. It comes closer when the borrowed speak too freely. We're not supposed to tell the living what waits in the hollow, but I don't care anymore. I'm fading. And I want someone to know why people go missing here. They never leave footprints because they don't walk away. They're pulled, just like I was. I tightened my grip on the recorder. Elias, why me? He stared at me for a long moment. Then he whispered, because you ask questions no one else will. Because you show up when others run. Because you don't look away from the dark. And because it likes you. My blood went cold. What? He lifted a shaking finger, pointing past me, into the woods behind my back. My breath caught. It's standing right behind you, Elias whispered. Don't run. Don't turn on a light. Don't speak your full name. Stay still, and ask your next question. The ground behind me creaked under a massive weight. Hot breath brushed the back of my neck. Slow, wet, hungry. Elias leaned toward the recorder. Ask quickly, before it decides you're worth keeping. My voice shook as I spoke. What does it want? The thing behind me exhaled, a low, rattling sound that felt like breath from the bottom of a cave. And Elias answered in a whisper that barely existed. It wants to know if you'll break the rules. The air behind me grew colder, heavy, dense, like something was breathing the warmth out of my skin 1 inch at a time. Elias didn't move. His eyes stayed locked on the darkness behind me, his body stiff as stone. You need to stay calm, he whispered. That's how it chooses. It waits for panic. It feeds on sudden fear. If you move too fast, it knows you're alive, and it wants the living more than the borrowed. My heart hammered so loud I thought it would echo. The woods felt too quiet, too aware. What does it do with the living? I whispered. Elias swallowed. His throat clicked like the movement hurt. It drags them into the hollow, same place it keeps the borrowed. But the living don't get a second chance. They aren't allowed to walk back out, not even for 3 hours. It takes their warmth, their breath, their voice. It makes them part of the dark. The thing behind me shifted its weight. Old leaves crunched under a massive foot. My stomach dropped. Elias, I whispered. I don't think I can stay still much longer. He leaned in, his voice barely air. You have to, or it will touch you. And once it touches you, You're half gone already. Something long and dry brushed the back of my jacket. Not a hand, not a claw. Just something smooth and cold sliding against fabric. Testing me. I clenched my jaw so tight it hurt. It's smelling you, Elias whispered. It's learning your shape, your fear, your voice. My breath hitched. I fought the urge to turn. Every instinct screamed to run, but running meant death. Running meant breaking the rules. Elias suddenly raised his voice, sharp, cracking through the silence. Ask your next question, now, before it loses interest in me and focuses on you. I swallowed hard. My mouth was bone dry. What does it want with the borrowed? The thing behind me let out a low, rattling sound, like a massive throat clearing itself in slow motion. Elias breathed in shakily. It uses us. We're not alive, but not dead. We're stuck between. The hollow makes you fade. Slow. Day by day. Until you're too weak to resist. Too weak to remember the living world. And when you forget your own name, when you forget your face, it finishes taking you. His eyes flickered, like something inside him dimmed. That's why Rule 2 matters. Never say your full name after midnight. It listens. It learns the names of those who wander too close. And once it has your name, it doesn't lose you. Names are openings. They're doors in the dark. I could feel the thing behind me still hovering over my neck, its breath cold enough to sting. Did it take your name? I whispered. Elias flinched. His lips trembled. I don't know anymore, he whispered. I can't remember if I'm Elias or if I'm something borrowing his shape. The hollow steals memories first, then warmth, then names. He stared at his hands, fingers pale, skin cracked. When I talk, he whispered, it feels like the words don't belong to me, like I'm repeating lines someone whispered into my bones. A sudden sharp movement behind me made me gasp. Twigs snapped. Something tall straightened up. Branches brushed against something that rose higher than a human height. Elias's eyes widened. Don't turn around, he hissed. It's examining you. It's deciding if you belong here, or if you're a trespasser. My breath trembled. Sweat broke across my neck, despite the cold. Why isn't it taking me right now? Because you haven't broken a rule yet, Elias whispered. It waits for that moment, the exact second you slip. That's when it strikes. Wow. That's why the rules exist. They're not for safety. They're limitations, boundaries. It can't take you unless you let it, even a little. The lingerer shifted again. A low, deep creak rolled through the trees. The ground vibrated under my shoes. What do I need to do? I whispered, voice trembling. Elias leaned forward. You need to keep asking questions. Keep my attention. Keep its attention divided. If the borrowed keeps talking, it stays still. But won't it get mad? It doesn't get mad, he said softly. It gets hungry. I closed my eyes for a second, regretted it the moment the darkness pressed closer, heavier, colder. Okay, I whispered. Next question. What happens at 3 o'clock? Elias's face tightened. His voice cracked. That's when the veil closes. The borrowed are pulled back, whether we're ready or not. But if it's near one of us when the veil closes, it drags us in faster. It takes the whole body. No more borrowed time. No more walking. No more chances. Just hollow forever. The thing behind me inhaled sharply. The sound was deep and unnatural, like a lung that didn't belong to anything human. Elias's expression turned desperate. You don't understand. It's smelling you because it senses the hour. It knows time is short. My body tensed. How close is it? Elias's eyes filled with a dull reflection of fear. It's right at your back, he whispered. If you move a single inch, It will wrap around you. And that will be the end. A long, cold finger traced the edge of my coat collar. Slow, purposeful, curious. My breath stopped, not paused. Stopped. Elias leaned closer, voice trembling. Ask me the most important question now, before it chooses. My throat tightened. I forced the words out. How do I survive this? The lingerer's breath shuddered against my skin, and Elias whispered, You won't, unless I break a rule for you. Elias's words hit me like ice water. You won't survive, unless I break a rule for you. My breath shook. What rule? He didn't answer right away. His eyes flicked toward the woods, toward the massive shadow behind me. The lingerer stood so close I could feel the cold rising off it like steam from a frozen river. Elias whispered soft, barely sound. Rule 1. I'm not supposed to look into the dark between the trees. But if I do it for you, it distracts it. It shifts its attention. It buys you seconds, maybe minutes. It isn't much. But it might be enough for you to leave this place alive. I swallowed hard. That rule is for the borrowed, not for the living. Why does you breaking it help me? Because the borrowed are connected to it, he said quietly. We are the thread. It listens through us, watches through us, moves through us. When one of us breaks the rules, it pulls its focus back. It corrects us. It punishes us. And for that moment, it forgets whoever else is near, even the living. My stomach tightened. That doesn't sound like a distraction. That sounds like a death sentence. Elias gave a faint, broken smile. It is. But I'm already fading. I only have a few walks left before the hollow claims what's left of me. Better I go tonight. Then you. Behind me, a towering shape leaned in closer. Branches cracked under its slow weight. A long finger grazed my hood. Cold enough to burn. Elias, it's touching me. I know. You're interesting to it. Curious. It hasn't smelled a living soul out here in a long time. Not one who follows instructions. His jaw tightened. He whispered, You need to trust me. I'm going to break Rule 1, and when I do, you run. My body froze. Run. Elias, you said running means death. You said that's how it decides. You're right, but that's for the borrowed. You're living. It can't grab you while it's correcting me. It has to finish one task before it starts another. That's the loophole. That's the only advantage you have. I shook my head, fear tearing through my chest. If I run, it'll hear me. Yes, it will. But it won't chase you until it's done with me. And I won't last long, but long enough. I felt sick. This stranger, this half-faded man, was about to sacrifice himself for someone he just met. I can't let you do that, I whispered. He laughed softly. It was a sad sound, almost human. You don't have a choice. It already marked you. It knows your voice. It knows your scent. If you stay here until the veil closes, it will drag you into the hollow whether you move or not. The lingerer's breath rolled across my skin. Slow. Heavy. Hungry. My hands shook uncontrollably. Elias leaned forward, his voice dropping to a whisper that felt like the last spark of a candle. When I look into the dark, you run to your car. Don't look back. Don't speak your name. Don't turn on any lights. Just get in. And don't drive with headlights until you're far from here. The road will guide you if you trust it. But the moment you reach the highway, turn them on, and don't stop for anything. My throat felt tight, breathless. What happens if I look back? I whispered. His eyes filled with something like pity. You'll see it clearly, and nobody stays sane after that. The lingerer exhaled again, its breath colder, closer, almost pressing against the back of my head now. Elias inhaled slow, steady. like a man bracing for impact. Listen carefully. This is where most people fail. When I break the rule, you'll hear it react. You'll hear it move. It doesn't sound like footsteps. It sounds like cold ripping through the air. You'll feel the pressure shift. You'll want to freeze. But you can't. You have to run the moment you feel it pull away from you. I nodded slowly, tears burning at the corners of my eyes. Okay, I'm ready. He shook his head. No, you're not. But you're as ready as you'll ever be. He straightened his back, bones cracking softly, his pale eyes lifting toward the endless dark between the trees. This will hurt, he whispered. Try not to remember the sound. What sound? The sound it makes when it corrects one of us. Before I could ask more, he turned his head. A full 90 degrees, facing the gap between the trees. His body stiffened instantly, every muscle locking. The lingerer reacted fast, faster than anything I've ever felt. The weight behind me vanished. The cold breath stopped. The air sucked itself inward, like the forest was inhaling all at once. Then the real sound came. A deafening crack, like a large branch splitting, but deeper, wetter, like something tearing through the boundary of flesh and shadow. Elias screamed. A raw, horrid, inhuman sound. Like his voice was being ripped in two directions. Run! He choked out. Go! Now! The lingerer moved toward him, fast, the air splitting with each shift, cold ripping through the wind like knives. I didn't think, didn't breathe, didn't look back. I bolted toward the car, feet pounding the dirt, my legs almost giving out from terror. Branches whipping against my arms, the forest shrinking to a tunnel of nothing but darkness and panic. Behind me, I heard Elias scream again, and then his voice was cut short, silenced, like the sound had been swallowed whole. I reached the car, hands shaking so bad I nearly dropped the keys. I dove inside, slamming the door shut. The dark woods hummed with cold, something shifting unseen. I didn't turn on the headlights. I didn't dare. The engine sputtered to life, low, quiet, a whisper of sound, and the forest road ahead of me began to glow faintly, as if guiding me forward. I gripped the wheel, heart slamming, breath shaking, and I drove into the dark, praying I'd make it to the highway before the lingerer finished with Elias. The forest road stretched ahead of me, a faint pale glow rising from the dirt, not bright like headlights, more like moonlight trapped under the ground. It pulsed softly, guiding my tires forward, left, right, twisting through the trees like the road itself was alive. My hands shook on the wheel. I couldn't think straight. Every breath felt like knives. Elias's scream still echoed in my skull. That wet crack. That moment his voice vanished, like it had been erased. Just make it to the highway, I whispered. Just get there, then lights, then safety. But nothing about this felt safe. Not anymore. The deeper I drove, the more wrong the forest seemed. The trees leaned closer, branches arched over the road like ribs. Every shadow moved. Slow. Just enough for me to notice in the corner of my eye. Something crawled high in the trees. Not fast, but steady. Following me. Keeping pace above the car. I didn't dare look directly. Rule 1 echoed in my head. Never look into the dark between the trees. I kept my eyes on the faint glowing road, hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles ached. At one point the glow dimmed, and for a heartbeat, I saw something huge standing at the roadside. Tall, thin, long arms dangling almost to the ground, a silhouette carved out of deeper darkness. I squeezed my eyes shut, opened them again. The shape was gone. My breath stuttered. Almost there, I whispered. Almost. The road curved sharply, then leveled, and through the trees I saw faint yellow headlights from distant cars on the highway. Relief punched into my chest so hard I almost cried. "Come on," I whispered. "Just a little more." The forest thinned. The glow beneath my car faded. The trees pulled back like they were retreating into shadow. And I burst out onto the gravel shoulder of the main highway. I slammed the headlights on. The beams cut through the darkness, warm, bright, normal. My entire body slumped forward. I almost collapsed against the wheel. I made it. I survived. But something felt wrong. Not outside. Inside the car. The air behind me shifted. Soft. Quiet. Like someone exhaling in the back seat. My heart stopped. Slowly. Moving only my eyes. I looked into the rearview mirror. The back seat was empty, but the middle seat belt was buckled, and the fabric was indented, like someone was sitting right there. I swallowed hard. "Elias," I whispered. No answer, but the indent stayed, perfectly shaped like a human form. My chest tightened. I shifted the mirror down a little. That's when I saw it. A handprint, pressed faintly into the fog on the back passenger window. Not a normal hand. Long fingers. Too many joints. Like it had dragged along the inside of the glass before fading. A wave of cold spread across my ribs. Slow. Crawling. I hit the gas. The car lurched forward onto the highway. I drove faster, and faster, and faster. Finally. Miles away. I pulled into a gas station lot. Bright lights. People around. Safety. I stumbled out of the car. Legs numb. Hands shaking uncontrollably. A trucker walking by gave me a weird look. "You all right, man?" "No," I whispered. "I'm not. I saw something in the woods." He shrugged. "Buddy, you're in Michigan. Everybody sees something in the woods." I almost laughed. Almost. I went inside. Got water. Tried to breathe. That's when my phone buzzed. A new email. From Elias Mercer. My stomach dropped. I opened it with trembling hands. There was no message. Just a single file attachment. An audio clip. I tapped it. The recording played. It wasn't Elias's voice. It was breathing. Slow. Cold. Wet. Then a low voice whispered. So close it sounded like it was inside my ear. "You left too soon. Borrowed things must be returned." I dropped the phone. It hit the tile with a crack. A beep echoed as another email came through. Same sender, same timestamp, same subject line. This one had text. 5 words. "Stop using your name tonight." My pulse hammered in my throat. I whispered out loud. "Why?" My phone buzzed again. A third email. "Rule 2. Never speak your full name after midnight. Someone heard you say it in the car." I felt the world tilt. "I never said my name," I whispered. Another email came instantly. "Yes, you did. When you thanked me." My lungs froze. I remembered it clearly now. Right before I ran. In the panic. In the terror. I had whispered it. "Thank you, Elias. Thank you for saving me. My name is..." The moment my memory filled in the name, an icy wind swept through the gas station aisles. Half the lights flickered. The air turned sharp and cold. I grabbed my phone, backed up toward the door. A final email buzzed in. One sentence. "Don't go home. It's already there." My heart exploded with dread. I turned toward the glass doors, and outside, under the buzzing streetlight, something tall and thin stood in the corner of the lot, facing me, not moving, not breathing, waiting. I froze. The doors between us felt paper thin. My phone buzzed again. "You have until 3. Follow the rules, or you become one of us." The figure stepped once, silent, slow, reaching toward the light, and that was when the world faded to black.